Alright guys, today we're talking about the Magnacut Mule. And as you can see, I did do a 5 hardness test average on this. I will be covering that in the video. For those of you that normally step out, don't watch the whole video. Not only will I be talking about the factory edge, the first sharpening, the third, the verification sharpening, how it strops back, how much it can cut after that. I'm also going to compare this with the 5 other Magnacut examples that I've cut with so far. Of those, 4 of them, I know what the hardness was on them. 1 of them I don't. I will get to that in time. Cover all the normal stuff with this, how it sharpened, what the factory angle was, how it deburrs, all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and get the cutting out of the way, and then the end of this video might be a little longer than what they usually are. Now that we saw that cutting, go ahead and get to everything you guys want to hear about. So a huge thank you to Fletcher for sending this along to me. I did have plans to make some scales real quick for this and actually take it out of the house in a leather sheath I have that it would fit in and use it at work. I just got too busy and that never happened. I did test it a whole bunch and use it quite a bit at the house, the hardness testing, all that stuff. So, started out with the factory edge, and the bevel was surprisingly even from the factory, just over 15 degrees per side, I found out when I sharpened it the first time. As you guys know, for the first sharpening, to keep it fair, I used the same angle that it comes with. So, factory edge, the first sharpening, 15.2 degrees per side, and then the test and the verification were 15 degrees per side. So, the factory edge on this, it felt really good. It would catch a hair in some places, wouldn't whittle hair. It was pretty good for a Spyderco factory edge. Felt good anyway. So I went ahead and marked off the 1-inch section like normal, cut with it. And the factory edge delivered 76 total feet cut. Not great. When you look at other stainless I've tested the factory edge on, though, it isn't exactly horrible either. For whatever reason, a lot of the stainless does not do well on the factory edge. I don't know if it's because it's more susceptible to fatigue and heat. We'll talk about that in a totally different video, though, at some point. So then I went ahead and sharpened it the first time. Felt decent on the stones. Not poor, not great. Exactly like I said, it felt decent. Deburred perfectly fine. Had no trouble doing that. Didn't have much of a burr left over from the first sharpening, and it came off well within my normal 5 passes per side, 631 micron. So I went ahead and tested it again, and on the first sharpening, 183 total feet cut. So quite a jump over what you get out of the box. And I'll keep saying it. It's why it's so important to sharpen your knives before you make any kind of decision about whether you like a steel, whether the heat treat's good, or anything like that. So over 100-foot gain. So then I sharpened it for the second time. I used it around the house. It did fine. I noticed it wasn't quite like my other Magnacut that I've used. It kind of felt like the very first one that I tested that was in the low to mid 63 range. So then I went ahead and sharpened it the third time, did the test, and on that test, 167 feet fine edge, 105 feet working edge, for a total of 272 feet. At this point, I know I was wrong in the beginning, including this one, I've only tested 5. I had a good idea what the hardness might be at that point. Wasn't positive. Sharpened it again for the 4th time. Ran the verification test. And on that test, 164 feet fine edge. 106 feet working edge, for a total of 270 feet. That's when I stropped it after the verification test in the 1-inch section right in here, and I went to cutting with it again. And after it cut 270 total feet in that 1-inch section, I stropped it on 16 micron, 5 passes per side, and 3 micron, 2 passes per side. That's usually how I strop my own stuff when I'm in between sharpenings. And after that, in the same 1-inch section, I got another 123 feet. So definitely not bad. Better than XHP, S30V, S35VN, those other steels that I've tested. This bettered those on the strap back for the best one I've gotten from any of those 3 steels. So now I'll move on to, I guess before I do that, in sharpening, it never felt any different. I did notice as I sharpened it, I was able to keep the burr quite a lot smaller the more sharpenings I put on it, which is a really good sign. The testing shows, though, that between the 3rd and 4th edge, I didn't get any kind of a jump. About the same numbers, within a few percent. I believe that's all this is going to have to deliver. From there, I went to the hardness testing, because at that point, I was curious to know what it was. After I cut with it, and I found out, you see there's 5 divots there. And the 5 test average hardness on this was 61.94. We'll call it 62. It's close enough. I know that of all the people that have Rockwell tested these different mules, they all ranged in the 62 to 63 range. This, I'm guessing, is one of the softer ones. Not horrible by any means, especially considering the price of it. And now I'm going to talk for a few minutes about Magnacut. As you guys know, in the beginning, I didn't watch a lot of stuff about it. Wanted to get a chance to test some for myself before I did. After I tested, prior to this one, when I tested the other 4, I watched some of Lauren's stuff, more recent stuff about it, and some other videos about Magnacut. I still don't see, and I know Lauren said it's similar to a crew wear, maybe in total cutting, at a similar hardness, maybe. I think this crew wear that's just over 62 comes up much better with a lot less work. And since I've done a ton of crew wear, even when it's softer, has a killer fine edge on it. Even if it doesn't have a great working edge, it has that ability to keep that fine edge for a really long time. The only other one that I have here still is my BGM Magnacut. Obviously, I don't have the pass-around knife anymore, and I don't have the transparent reblades. One was Tom's, and one I believe was for a giveaway for Tom. However, I've gotten to test a whole range of hardness now. 62, the low to mid 63, the I don't know yet, and then the transparent knives that we definitely know were 64, low 64. I'd have to look or ask Tom. And I know the blade with the hole in it that's Tom's. That one was 65. So what does that tell me over 5 examples? We have 272 feet of a best test cutting with the Mule here. That's the lowest hardness. Then I had the pass-around knife that I had no way to confirm the hardness on that. And it did 10 to 15 feet better than this one did. So it's either a little bit harder, or maybe it was a lot harder, and that initial heat treat when that steel was new from the first run just wasn't as good. Either way, it did 15 feet better than this. Then the BGM spade here in Magnacut. Now, John says he followed the 62 HRC protocol for this, and he may very well have. However, it's one of those asterisk things. Maybe this particular blade just hit everything perfect. The hold times, the quench time, the cryo, all that stuff. I don't know what the hardness is yet, like I said, from sharpening it though. I will tell you, and I'm say it again, I do believe this is a bit harder than 62. This did 340 feet, somewhere around there, 345 feet. About what Brian's 64 Rockwell bug-out reblade did. And then we get to see the high side of it, which was the other bug-out reblade at 65. And that cut 430, 435 feet, somewhere in there. So, as you can see, quite a jump as you go to the different known hardnesses on these. Not only in total cutting, but in the fine edge as well. However, I will note, kind of like 4V, as the, and for 4V, I can only say production 4V, because I don't want to spoil the custom 4V test you guys haven't seen. Magnacut, I do believe, now that I've tested some more, it is closer in resemblance to 4V. As the hardness goes up, the fine edge on Magnacut, there is no huge jump on it. Even the hardest one I tested was 35-ish, 40 feet, more than this, and that's 3 points of hardness. However, if you look at what the working edge was on those, that is quite a huge jump. In 3 points of hardness, you're talking 130 to 150 feet better. In one case, I still want to test some more Magnacut. 5 blades isn't a ton. It's not like the M390 20CV 204P deal where somewhere around 80 total different examples tested, from soft production to hard production to custom. It's nothing like that. It's not like D2 where I've tested a bunch of D2 and I have a good idea of what it does. I've only done 5 examples. I am definitely going to test some more, and I will revisit the discussion about it just like this. Have I changed my mind about it down the road? Maybe as the steel ages and people work with it more? Maybe the heat treats at the hardnesses we've already tested, maybe they get better. Don't know, as people perfect it, find better ways of doing it, and so on. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on Magnacut now, especially since quite a few companies have put it out. And keep in mind, I do still have, and that's where I got the 6th one from because I'm not done testing it yet, the Arius and Magnacut. I will be testing that one also, as well as getting a hardness on it. But I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on Magnacut now that it's been out longer and there are much more options for it. That's all I have for this one. As always, I appreciate your time, and thanks for watching.